Thank you very much, Larry. Appreciate that. And good evening, all. My name is Don Scott, and I'm coming to you from sunny St. Augustine, Florida. I want to welcome you all to the basic Twitter webinar designed to promote the FairTax. As Larry stated, I'm working under the direction of Randy Fisher, who is on the board of directors for the FairTax Association, as well as the co-chair of the Communications Committee. One of the goals of that committee is to expand the awareness and promotion of the FairTax through the use of various social media outlets, the concentration now being in Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. That three-legged stool could possibly expand at some point in the future. However, the focus right now is on those three particular tools. And tonight, of course, we will be discussing Twitter. Just a quick bio about me. Larry covered a little bit, but by trade I am a professional, or I am a software implementation trainer. And as far as the FairTax goes, I've done some work with Randy on helping with the previous Facebook webinars, creating a Facebook user manual, and of course I'm facilitating this training this evening. I've also done some work with the Northeast Florida District Director, Paul Livingston, representing the FairTax at trade shows and local festivals. And with the FairTax, you might just say I'm a simply concerned citizen who wanted to get involved in some fashion, and I appreciate the Leadership Council here giving me the opportunity to do so. As far as the presentation tonight, I'm going to try and stay away from the PowerPoint as much as possible and get into the live tool itself of Twitter to sort of show you the process. There's one thing I've learned over the years is doing PowerPoint presentations is they're just as dull as dishwater. And if I actually go into the tool and show you how it acts a little bit, it sort of gives you something to look forward to when you go into the tool if you haven't been. So you sort of know how it's going to act and react when you do certain things. So the only problem with doing the live demos is sometimes technology does not always cooperate. So we're just going to have to sort of play it by ear if that happens. I've got my fingers and toes crossed that everything goes as planned, though. As far as the presentation itself, it should take about 25 to 30 minutes, and at that point we'll open her up for questions. What is Twitter? Why Twitter? About 3/4 of people who use the internet at some point have utilized some form of social media, and that's primarily powered by the use of mobile devices such as smartphones and tablets. And 19% or more of all Twitter users are under the age of 39, and that's a very important demographic we're trying to reach when promoting the FairTax. And there are about 24 million active Twitter users currently, and that includes both regular and occasional users. So you see it can be a very powerful medium for FairTax promotion and advocacy. What I'm going to concentrate on tonight is 5 easy steps for Twitter. And that includes how to set up a Twitter account, how to set a profile, how to find and gain followers, how to use Twitter posts to promote the FairTax, and how to get help if you need help on how to use the tool. Twitter is a social and informational communication media hosted at twitter.com that is used by over 20 million U.S. citizens. In its simplest form, the Twitter is a news feed for various topics of interest, not just for FairTax and politics, but for entertainment, sports, media, whatever your particular interest is. And it's a way to start an electronic start or continue an electronic conversation about any topic. Limitation. Twitter has a limitation. It is limited to 140 characters per post, or I'm going to start calling it a tweet because that's actually what it is. So you need to learn how to be succinct in your communications. Twitter is relied upon by many to get news items quickly. Twitter can be a very powerful tool in building a grassroots movement and actually can drive the news coverage in some instances. The best examples I can think of are the Arab Spring in Egypt that took place in 2009, and also a little more recently, the kidnapped girls in Nigeria. that news coverage was almost exclusively driven by social media in general and really Twitter in particular. So a large number of people can be informed about a topic in a relatively short period of time. Twitter is the main source of social media for Congress. Contacting congressmen outside your district and senators outside your state can be rather challenging by email or phone. If you try it by email, you always get to the point where it asks for your address, and if you're not in that particular representative's district or don't have an address that reflects that representative's district, you're stopped cold. And you can call and leave a phone message, but once again, they're going to ask you for proof that you are in that representative's district. And if you are not, then your message is going to be treated accordingly. That's going to sort of be put down to the bottom of the pile, if you will. Twitter sort of helps you leapfrog over those hurdles. It helps you get messages through to congressional members that you would not be able to typically. And those tweets are going to be picked up by their communications director or by their staff. And my understanding is that most of the congressmen actually look at their own tweets. I don't think all of them do, but I think a good portion of them look at their own tweets. So it's a powerful method of direct communication. Twitter provides a news feed based upon user preferences and follows as well as those of users' followers. News feeds follow a different format than they do on Facebook, if you're familiar with Facebook, and as I'll show you in a few moments. Due to the limited length of posts to 140 characters, there is a web address compression tool called bit.ly.com. That's bit.ly.com. This helps save characters in the tweet as those 140 characters get used very quickly. Just a quick description of what bit.ly.com does is sometimes you have web addresses that are very long, sometimes over 140 characters just by themselves. So what you do is you just copy that web address and then you post it into a space in bit.ly.com. There's a button called Convert. You hit that and give it about 10 seconds, and down below you will have your new compressed web address that you can, you'll have options to copy, and then you can copy and paste it into your tweet. So it's a great tool for allowing you to put in web addresses into a tweet. And of course, as we discussed, Twitter is populated by tweets, and Twitter can be targeted by user-generated hashtags. Twitter is a searchable tool, and it is keyword searchable, and it is searchable by hashtags. Now, hashtags is really a very simple concept. It's basically, it's a highlighted keyword, and the primary purpose of hashtags is to track trends on Twitter. If you do a hashtag search, which I'll show you here in a few minutes, it ties all tweets with that hashtag on your home page, and I'll show that to you here in just a moment. Okay, create an account. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of I'm going to move away from the PowerPoint here, and I'm going to show this to you live. So wish me luck here, and hopefully the technology will keep me in line here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the home page here, and that's www.twitter.com. And hopefully everybody sees a page that says "Welcome to Twitter" up at the top, sort of on the left-hand side. If you look over more towards the right, if you already have a username and a password, you're going to be putting that in right here. And if not, since we're learning how to sign up on for a new Twitter account, we're going to pay attention to this area right here where it says "New to Twitter, sign up." Now you have 3 fields right here. You have to put in your full name. You need a valid email address, and then the password that you want to use to log into Twitter. And then you have a button there that says sign up for Twitter. You can go directly and just hit the sign up for Twitter, but you're going to have to put these 3 items in on the next page anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it right here. So bear with me here. I'm going to put in my name and my valid email address. And my password. And then I'm going to hit this button that says sign up for Twitter. And that'll take me to another page, hopefully fairly quickly. And it should take you to a page that says join Twitter today. And hopefully everybody can see that. So you can see the first 3 items here, the top 3 items, name, email address, and password, are put in. And there's like there's a section over here with a green check that says name looks great, and the email address is what happens when I finally create the account. It's going to email me a confirmation, and that's how you're going to activate your Twitter account. And my password is in. Looks like it's okay. Looks like it maybe could have been a little better as far as security, but I'm going to go ahead and go with it. Now, as far as choosing your username, based on the email address I put in, it gives me some suggestions here for ones I could use. I'm going to use something that's a little more applicable, and I'm going to say I want to try and go FairTax Don as my username. Now, I just put in FairTax, and you can see that this, I get the red X over here. You can see the username is taken already. So I'm just going to add my name on the end, and I should get the green check mark. So everything's okay up there. Now, there's a couple items I want to go to down here I want to bring your attention to. There's a couple of check boxes. It says, keep me signed in on this computer. If your computer is secure and if it's basically just you that's using it, or maybe just another person, someone you trust, then you can keep yourself signed in on that computer. Obviously, if it's a public computer, you don't want to do that. You want to avoid someone getting on in your name and start tweeting things that you would not necessarily want to be tweeted. But if that's not the case, then you can keep that checkmark box, and each time you come up to Twitter, you will actually be logged in, so you can keep signed in on this particular computer. The next box is tailor Twitter based on my recent website visits. That's strictly for the browser that you are on right now, and I'm on Opera right now. It takes a look at the history of the websites that you have brought up, and it recommends followers. The accounts that you can follow, and we'll go into what followers are here in just a minute. Now, moving down here a little bit, you have all the legalese, the terms and conditions, the things that most people hardly ever read, and they just click and say that yes, they accept it. Well, I've been told to recommend that you do actually sort of go through this and read it, because there are a couple of things in particular that you want to avoid doing with Twitter that will get you into Twitter purgatory and actually get your account taken away from you. They don't want you to spam, and you will get taken down very quickly if you start spamming. And also, you don't want to impersonate anybody else. You don't want to try to impersonate anybody else. You just want to keep your own identity. So with that said, I'm going to create my account. One thing is that while it's creating my account, you want to make sure you save your password. Remember your password, because my understanding, and I have never had to do this, it is not easy to retrieve. So you want to make sure you do that. So basically what goes through next is it goes through like a little tutorial. It shows you how to get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the the PowerPoint at this point because I'm waiting on the there will be an email that will be sent to my email address to get the so I can activate the Twitter account. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint for the time being. Okay, now you're to the point where you want to create a Twitter profile, and there's a few things that you want to consider, especially when you're as it's related to the FairTax. Who do you want to attract, and what do you want them to follow you about? Well, since we're on the topic of the FairTax, you want them to be interested in public policy, politics, tax reform, fair tax in general, or specifically FairTax, I should say. What type of followers do they have? Basically, you want followers that follow sort of the same line of thinking as yourself. If it's possible, if they have any celebrity followers, that would help. Someone sort of a mover and a shaker. That would be nice to have followers that way. How many followers do they have? As a general rule, you want them to have at least 1,000 or more followers, because really it's sort of a numbers game. And I'll be the first to admit I've been very lax on followers. I don't have any followers at this point, so I'd be the first to admit I've been very lax on that. How frequently do they post? It doesn't do any good to follow anybody on Twitter if they never utilize the tool. And actually, I believe it's 60 days. If you go 60 days without using the tool, or not without any activity, they actually will actually disband your account or deactivate it, I guess, more than disband it. So you need someone who's actually a user of the tool. And what are search tags and hashtags? We already started going over hashtags a little bit. And the searchable function of the tool, and I'll show that to you when I go and do a little tour of it. Where are they located geographically? That's important to note. That so if you get someone, maybe you get a follower that is in a local that's local, but they're not really active in your group. Maybe you can sort of recruit them to be active in your local group and to promote the FairTax locally for you. And then really, by and large, are they interested voters? Are they active in public policy? Do they care? Are they more interested in what's going on in American Idol? Or, not nothing against American Idol, but you want them to be politically or active in public policy and sort of in tune to what's going on. Now, as far as the Twitter profile itself, you can go as you can go as simple or you can go as complex as you want. It's comfortable. It's what you're most comfortable with. Up at the top here, you can see Miss Kathleen Hogan is got about as simple a Twitter profile as you can get. Basically, it is her city and state. And as we progress down further down here, Mr. Ryan Graham, you can see that he has put in a lot of detail. He's filled in a lot of blanks. So it's really what you're comfortable in doing. Now, who to follow? As you set up your Twitter account and you set up your profile, they're going to ask you for 5 followers. And it prompts you for 5 follows. And we're going to give you some suggestions right now, 5 to follow, and I follow all these in mine. The first one is @ and if you notice the ampersand sign right there, that is at the beginning of every Twitter address. So if you're going to tweet somebody, you're going to put that @ that ampersand and whatever the rest of their Twitter address is. So, and actually the ampersand is #2. So the @ Florida FairTax, that's just the Northeast Florida FairTax Association. @ the FairTax Official. That is actually the national organization. That's the Twitter account that's associated with the fairtax.org, I believe. FairTax facts, I'm not entirely sure where this originates from, but it's a lot of good information, and they are very active. And the next one is at fairtaxnation_org. And then the last one is at GGEETT. That's Glenn Terrell, who has 5 Twitter IDs, all FairTax related. I sort of liken him to, if anybody follows the FairTax on Facebook, I sort of liken him to FairTax Dave. I don't believe FairTax Dave has 5 Facebook accounts, but he's very active in promoting the FairTax on Facebook. So it's sort of the same concept. Now we have some suggested optional follows here. First off, the House Ways and Means Committee, very important because they are actually responsible for voting tax policy, including the fair tax, out of committee and getting it onto the floor for debate. So they're a very important committee to keep in touch, and they do have their own address. All of Congress, and this goes back to you can communicate with any member of Congress you need to, and you don't even need to be in their district or live in their state. So it's very important. You can utilize that for any member of Congress. At FairTax Facts, I just now noticed, I think that's actually a duplicate from the previous screen, if I'm not mistaken. So I apologize for that. At Mark Gupton 1, and Mark Gupton is the managing director for the Florida Fair Tax Association. At the Talkmaster, I believe that's Neil Bortz's email account. Neil Bortz has actually co-authored 2 fair tax books, and used to be a radio talk show host. He has since retired from that position, and he is still very active in promoting the fair tax. And actually, each state is going to have their own account for their own individual fair tax association, just like the Florida Fair Tax does. They're each going to have their own individual accounts, and even some of those larger states might have their own accounts and organizations depending on the region. Like, for instance, we have a Fair Tax South Florida. Twitter terms, some terms that you might run up against that might help you in understanding the tool a little bit. Number one, what is a tweet? And we've already sort of went over that a little bit. Once again, the tweet is limited to 140 characters, and those characters get chewed up very quickly. So learn to condense your message into as pithy a message as you can make it. What is a hashtag? And we've already sort of gone over this. I know I'm showing my age, but a hashtag in my day was actually called the pound sign, and that's actually shift on your keyboard. It will be shift 3. For instance, the example here is pound fair tax. There's also, or I should say, hashtag fair tax. Sorry about that. There's also hashtag repeal_16. And there's several of them out there. And once again, it's tracked and trended by Twitter. And I'll show you how to locate those trends here in just a moment. And characters can be letters, numbers, spaces, symbols, but it's all included in the 140 characters. Retweet, all it is, it's just a tweet that has already showed up, and you want to retweet it to your followers just in case they're not following who originally tweeted it. I know it sounds confusing, but it's just a way to sort of reiterate to your followers something that you want to, something that you want them to make sure that a message you want to make sure they get, because they may not have followed who originally sent that tweet. What is a follow or a following? We've already sort of covered that a little bit, and it's let me see. Since there is a limited amount of characters, they have some shortened hyphenated things that you might run across. RT just stands for retweet. That's all it means. HT stands for hat tip, and that's just sort of like a kudos for a particular tweet, the one that you find particularly outstanding. Direct message, DM is direct message, and that's just a way for you to message your followers without it actually being, without actually going into a Twitter form and being out there for public consumption. So if you want to message one of your followers privately, you can do it that way. And it's similar to the Facebook messaging service too, if you're aware of that. The ampersand sign, once again, that is the beginning of any address. So if you're going to tweet somebody, that's what you're going to start with. And once again, that is shift 2 on your keyboard. An egg, all an egg is your profile. If you have not put a picture in, and then you're going to see a picture of an egg. That's all that is. Trends. Trends are basically what's the hot topics. What are people tweeting about right now? And promoted tweets, it's just a paid promotion that you can do, and there's a similar function in Facebook also. This is an example of a retweet, and you can see that Randy Weber retweeted Speaker John Boehner's message, and there's the RT right there, retweet if you agree, President Obama should immediately deploy the National Guard to our southern border, and so he retweeted that. And I'm going to show you this live here in just a minute, but this is sort of what it looks like if you, on your Twitter page, and sort of I sort of liken it to posts on Facebook. Everybody that you follow, it's what they've been tweeting. So this is sort of what it looks like, and like I said, I'll show you that live here in just a moment. Okay, before I get to the help, I'm going to go back to the tool here, and once again, hopefully my technology will cooperate with me. So bear with me for just a moment here, and I'm going to go to my own personal Twitter account. Oops. Okay, so this is my own personal Twitter account here, and don't look like it's filled in very well for me here. There we go. There we go. I'm just going to sort of go around the horn here. This is my name right here, and this is my Twitter address here. It's for my little personal coffee business. There's the egg I was talking about. I need to input some sort of photograph there. And if you want to change it, you just click on it, and then you can add a photograph right there. And if you want to go back to the home screen, you just hit that right there. Now, remember I talked about trends. Here's the things that's trending right now, and it has a lot to do with the news of the day. See, we have hashtag Gaza, we have hashtag Israel, things that are hot in the news that you've probably heard about. Jesse Ventura, oh my Lord, I have no idea why he's in the news. So that gives you an idea of what's trending right now. Of course, our goal is to get the pound FairTax or the pound repeals _16 or something like that on those trends. So that's what we're shooting for. Now in the middle here, you see it says tweets, and I'm sorry. Let me go back here a little bit. I want to show you how to compose a tweet. And there's actually 2 ways to do it. There was a box there that said compose tweet, and I just clicked on it. There's also over here on the top right, if you hover over it, you can see it says compose new tweet. You can click on that. The difference being is when you click on the one up there, it actually blackens out the rest of the screen. So if that's important to you and you want to, you sort of want to block everything out so you can focus on that, that's fine. I prefer just to use this over here on the left-hand side. So I'm going to compose a tweet right now. So once again, I'm going to use the ampersand sign to add the shift 2, and I want to start out with the R. And you can see as I type, it sort of has a look ahead function, so it's sort of intuitive. So it sort of tries to guess who you might be wanting to tweet. I'm going to go ahead and tweet Ron DeSantis, who is my representative. Good man. So all I have in so far is his name, and you can see right here, it might be a little hard for you to see, but there's a number 127, and so you can see all I put in was his address so far, and I've already used 13 of my characters, so you can see how fast they go. So I'm going to just put in a short message here. Representative DeSantis is used to hearing from me in various forms, so this should be no surprise to him. Oops. Sorry about that. I fat-fingered here a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to add a couple of hashtags. See, I have 54 characters left, and I'm going to add a couple of hashtags here. So I want to do my shift 3, and I want to put in FairTax. And I'm sure I'm going to do another one, too, for you Repeal 16 folks out there. Okay, now you can see I've done pretty good here actually. I still have 35 characters left. I'm going to add a picture. You can add a picture if you want to. You can see this little camera right there. So bear with me here. I have a little FairTax. Oops. I'm going to add this little thing. Let me see how many characters it takes when I add that. It was 35, so that image took it down to 12, so it took 27 characters. So I'm going to go ahead, once my message is complete, I'm going to go ahead and hit tweet, and hopefully it won't take too long for it to come through. Okay, now you see once I did that, it says your tweet to Representative DeSantis has been complete. It went away very quickly, but you got a message up at the top center. And you can see my message up here to Representative DeSantis. Now, if you come along and say you were following me or you were actually following Mr. DeSantis too, you would have an option here for a retweet. So you could retweet that out and your followers would see that. Or you could reply to Representative DeSantis also. Or actually would be a reply to me actually. Let me go down here a little bit, and you can see the various tweets that people who are in who I am following have done. It's sort of hard to see, but if you hover over it, you can see the reply button, you can see the retweet button. Moving over to the left-hand side, you can see, based on who you're following currently, it gives you suggestions on who you might want to follow. And you can also do a search. Remember I said that the Twitter was searchable. So what I'm going to do is I want to search for something. You can see that I've already searched for this, but I'm going to do it again. I want to search for hashtag FairTax, which is, once again, it's shift 3 for the hashtag sign. And I'm going to go FairTax. And you can either hit this over here or you can just hit enter. And hopefully it'll come through here soon. Okay, so right up here you have the results for hashtag FairTax. You can see it's the top results for hashtag FairTax, or you can see you see there's a button here that says all. You can see all of the results for hashtag FairTax. You can see that it fills in with that information. You can also search for. I want to search for Dave Camp, who is on the who is the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, and so I am going to select him, and this is his home page right here, and you can see it's all of his tweets down there, and all the followers, all of his followers that I know. Looks like the Representative DeSantis is following him. That's good. So I'm going to follow him too, because he's a mover and shaker, and he could really make things happen for the FairTax. So I'm going to follow him. So now you can see once I press the button, it now says following. And you can always unfollow if you want to, but I'm going to leave him on there. So with that little tour, I'm going to sort of go back to. Oops, wait a minute. Sorry, I want to show you the help function, because the help, if you need assistance on any topics, it has a Twitter has a very robust help area, and I want to make sure I show that to you. So you just go to this little cog right here, and then you hit help, and hopefully the screen will come right up. There it is. So you can see it's labeled Help Center, and you have all kinds of different, if you scroll down here, you have all kinds of different categories. Welcome to Twitter, Me, which is managing your profile, notifications, you have frequently asked questions. If what you're looking for is not right there, you can say see more, so you can see more information about help you might need on whether it's managing your profile or notifications or what have you. You can also do a search. So it's like a Google search. So you can go, let's say I'm getting a lot of spam and I want to know how to report it. So I'm going to type it in there and hit search, and then it comes up with information that's related to how do I report spam. And if you want to get back to Twitter, you can go right there. Actually, I want to go back to troubleshooting here for just a second and show you something real quick. Basically, this is a page for frequently asked questions on various issues. You can see we have login issues, we have account settings, profile settings, tweets and direct messages, following and followers, search, mobile apps. Have a lot of information there. If you have any issue, you should be able to find it there somewhere. Now, to get back to your primary Twitter screen, your home screen, you just click what should be a profile picture there. I will get one in, I promise. And just hit back to Twitter. And it takes you right back to your home page. And with that said, I want to sort of take it back to the PowerPoint and sort of finish up. We saw the Twitter frequently asked questions and the Twitter tutorials as far as if you want to get help on the tool. YouTube, you can go to youtube.com and you can search. There's all kinds of videos on how to do different things within the Twitter tool. You can always Google. Google is good. And if push comes to shove and you can't find your answer with any of those sources, you can always come to me. This is me right here, dscott351@aol.com. Starting to wrap it up here a little bit. Just give me just a moment here. We've already seen that. And some questions here. We're gonna go through some questions here real quick. Some frequently asked questions, and then we're gonna open it up to questions. What can I do wrong on Twitter? There's actually and I probably should have showed it to you when I was in the tool. In the help section, there's actually a sort of a code of conduct, if you will, that really spells it out a lot clearer than it does when you're reading all the legalese and in the terms and conditions. So you can go there. But I mean, I've already mentioned a couple things. Don't spam. Don't pretend you're somebody else. And just general rule, be respectful. Keep a respectful tone. What can I get from Twitter that I can't get off the internet? Well, what Twitter does for you, it consolidates all of your interests into one tool. So you have all of your you're doing all you're following all these different people, which are based on your interests, and you have them all there in one page. So you can get a lot of things you can get off of Twitter you can get on Twitter off of the internet, but not in a consolidated fashion like that. So plus you can also see what your followers are saying, who you're following, and what's going on, which you can't really. It's very hard to get that off the internet. How do I build followers? Now I know there's some third-party programs which you can get to find followers. You want to be careful though, because sometimes those third-party programs don't meet the terms and conditions of Twitter. So you want to be careful which one of those you use. I went into the frequently asked questions, and it basically said your interactions with people on Twitter, and you can get people to follow you that way. And that was their suggestion. How can you get the attention of Congress? I think the easiest way to do it is if you see a tweet of theirs come out on your homepage, then just reply to it in some fashion, or retweet one of their tweets if it has a hashtag that is of interest, like the hashtag FairTax or the hashtag repeal_16 or what have you. That's the easiest way to get the attention of Congress. And with that, I think Randy Fisher wanted to make a couple remarks, and then I think from there we're going to open it up for questions. But that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much, Don.
Yeah, Don, this is Randy Fisher.
Go ahead, Randy.
Oh, thanks, Larry. I just wanted to mention that we plan this eventually to be videotaped and put up on YouTube so that you'll be able to watch it or download it or share it as needed. The second thing I wanted to mention was that this is going to be eventually a 3-part training program, which will be the basic, which you've now gone through, which is to just get your foot in the door, learn a little bit of the lay of the land, and start to get comfortable with following and getting followers and sending tweets. Then we'll have the intermediate level, then we'll have the advanced level. The ultimate goal being that we will train a group of us, however as large as we can get, to not only draw a large group of followers, both close to us geographically that we can make part of our local FairTax groups, but also nationally, and that eventually we will be able to promote Twitter in specific districts so that we can target 5,000 Twitter users in Paul Ryan's district, and when he takes over the Ways and Means Committee as chairman, we can make it very visible to Mr. Ryan that it's time to give FairTax a vote. So that's the long-range plan of this, and that's what we in the Marketing and Communications Committee at AFFT have been working on.
Good deal. Thank you, Randy, for that. Appreciate it. We do have a few questions on board here, and I think more will come up as we go along. The first one is from Don. Don, for you, Don. Don is asking, can you include some of these terms in an email? How do you suggest that Don gets the terms that he's interested in, Donald?
Getting the terms that he's interested. You mean like the let me go see if I can go back and find the screen.
Yeah. Like RT as an abbreviation for retweet, like HT as a tip of the hat salutation, good job type abbreviation. We can create, and Don did this with Facebook, but we can create a very simple list of a Twitter glossary, and we may be able to email that out through the new and improved email database system that's coming in August.
Okay, I would add that this Twitter webinar is going to be put up on YouTube via the Florida FairTax Educational Association website. And Don, that asked the question, you will be able to go to our website and click on the videos section there, get out to our YouTube pages, and then look for this particular webinar. Once you open it, you'll be able to scroll through the screens a little more rapidly if you don't want to watch the entire webinar to get to the point you're interested in. And that's where Don defined what those various abbreviations meant. Well, thank you very much for that question. Next one is from Babby. And Babby is asking, saying, you went too fast on the hashtag items. Would you define those again, please?
I'll be happy to define a hashtag. Basically, a hashtag is, for all intents and purposes, it's just it's a searchable. It's a way to track trends on Twitter, and it's searchable. It basically, if there's a lot of people that's hashtagging FairTax, then it will show up on those trends. It basically tells you what is the hot topics. What are people tweeting the most about? And that's really it in a nutshell. Can you add anything to that, Randy?
Yeah, it also gives a way of shorthanding promotions. One of the ideas that we have is people post photographs of either one of their children or grandchildren or somebody else without identifying them, obviously, by name, and putting them holding a sign that says hashtag it's my future, and having them stand near a FairTax, piece of FairTax identifiable material, like wearing a hat. Very cute picture of a child wearing a large FairTax hat holding a sign that says it's my future. You tend to find those types of things if a large enough crowd of people find them to be an interesting message and they retweet those. For example, a single retweet by Neil Bortz, the Talkmaster, would hit 155,000 potential Twitter, well, not potential, actual Twitter feeds. Now, how many people out of that 155,000 would have their Twitter feed open in time to see that? You may actually cut that by as much as 50%. But even there, you've got 75,000 people seeing the same message. If only 10% of those retweet that, you've then hit literally another, tens of thousands of people with that simple message. And if we do that often enough and we get enough cute targeted photos, those types of things can actually go viral on Twitter, where people will just take off with the idea and do it on their own. And that's what we're hoping to start with some of these trends.
Thanks, Randy. Okay, out on the left coast where the sun hasn't set yet is a person whom I have looked to as one of the cornerstones of the grassroots movement in FairTax. Bill, you've got a question and your mic is on.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
It's a pleasure, and thank you very, very much for your dedication to our country and doing it in this way. I'm still confused about, first of all, is uppercase or lowercase significant in using the tweet?
I don't believe it is.
Okay. And give us some examples of a hashtag and how people use it. Who puts it on and then what happens to it?
The tweeter typically would insert a hashtag into their tweet. Those tweets can then be recopied and those hashtags can get picked up and reused by copying, or they can simply be retweeted. But there is a copy feature under More, I believe, and what you're hoping is that the hashtag will be catchy enough that it will, get spread and spread and spread to the point where it shows up in that trending list. That's our ultimate goal, is to have the top 5 there in some manner be related to FairTax.
So, for example, if I wanted to repeal 16, it's probably already been done, but I would put tweet, let's say you, Don, and I would put hashtag repeal 16.
Correct.
Yes,
and
that's correct.
some organizations are trying to standardize their hashtags so that they can get more people using the same one. Because you have things like close the IRS. There you see one that's abolish the IRS. And one of the things that my committee is looking at is, do we want to try and come up with a group of standardized hashtags? Since none of us know what the hell we're doing, we're actually in the process of getting a social media company that is going to be volunteering a good portion of its time to FairTax. They're called McGuire Media Partners, and they're in California. They're in LA. And they're going to be helping us design our social media strategy.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks very much, Bill. Good hearing from you, too. Okay, the next comment is from Peggy, and she is saying, should you use a pseudo username to protect your privacy, or use your real name?
If the pseudo username is very catchy, it probably may catch more followers than your real name. So, but I think if you'll notice on the screen, I think Twitter actually puts up both. It may not put up your full name. I know you have to give it your full name in order to sign up, but whether you can edit that down or not is something I would have to get the answer to. But I noticed that Glenn Terrell has his as Glenn T, and then it has his Twitter handle, which is one of 5 Twitter handles for Glenn. So I'm assuming you can at least edit it down so it doesn't show your full last name.
Thanks, Randy. I have a question for you I'd like to throw in here real quickly. Don, when you sent the tweet to your representative, Representative DeSantis, you said, thank you for your support of the FairTax, blah, blah, blah. And then you added later on, hashtag FairTax. Could you not have put the hashtag in where you said FairTax the first time instead of writing hashtag twice?
Don, or you want me to take that one?
I've never tried that before, so I don't have any practical experience. Do you know?
You can hashtag the very first time you use FairTax. You can hashtag the same thing more than once, but I don't believe the computers at Twitter include that as part of their consideration on trending. But yes, you could hashtag it the very first time you put it in.
Fantastic. Thank you. I thought that might be the case. I just wanted to validate that. Okay, the next question is from Rob, and he is asking, will slides be available? Don, are you going to make these slides available yet, or do you and Randy have more work to do on them?
I don't believe the slides are pretty much as is. There's nothing that I personally need to do with them. Randy, I don't know about yourself.
No, I think this would constitute the basic introductory program, and we will create a Dropbox link where if someone will send Don or I an email, we'll make sure you get a link to that Dropbox folder, and then you can download the PowerPoint from there.
Okay, I made a comment earlier when you were talking about the bit.ly.com, and or a question for myself. I think that there ought to be on the screen the bit.ly.com and an example of how it reduces a website address. And I think that would be great to add for the presentation and, of course, before the slides are made available to anybody.
Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Can you go to bit.ly.com while we're taking additional questions, Don? Are there any other questions, Larry?
Not from, oh yeah, there's more questions. I got a full screen yet.
I've slowed it up here considerably. There we go.
Yeah, I was worried about the screen refresh, but so far it's been fairly good. Or it was.
I'm gonna try and bring up a website here and try and do a quick demo here of how Bitly works. It's very simple.
Okay.
Let me see if I can go into something here real quick and get a.
Larry, while he's doing that, do you want to take you want to give us an additional question?
Will do, Randy. Next one is from David. Should I create Twitter accounts for my books and website in addition to one for my FairTax interests?
That's purely a personal choice. I know that there are folks who have multiple Twitter accounts and that they do it so that they can tailor each account to their interests. I happen to have 2 accounts, and you're also able to link at least one account to your Facebook page, so that if you have a particular interest on Facebook and you happen to post something and you want to see the same group of people see it on Twitter, not the same group but an additional group, it would automatically link that Facebook posting to your Twitter page. I would mention there's one other way to get in what I call Twitmo or Twitter jail. There's a group called Patriots, I believe it's Patriots Journal, and I apologize if I messed this up, but they're doing a Twitter event weekly, I believe on Tuesday nights, where a group of folks get together and tweet and retweet FairTax items. And if you retweet the same thing more than 3 times in a row, Twitter will lock you out. So that's one more way to get your account suspended temporarily.
Okay, thank you. Don, are you ready?
Okay. Yes, I have a website here that a link that I have copied, and so I'm going to just do a Control-V and paste it in there. And I'm sorry, it's shortened, not condensed, so I'm sorry, that's my fault. But you just hit shorten, and typically it takes about 10 seconds, and then all of a sudden, right, what's it doing for me here?
I think it's putting it through an additional step.
Okay, there it is. I'm sorry, there it is. It's right underneath it. I was looking too far down. There's my new link right there. So I can just hit copy, and I can go back to my Twitter account and then just paste it right in.
Very good.
Daniel?
So you can see there's the original right there, which is going to eat up most of your characters, and it condenses it down to that right there.
And I think it gives you the number of characters in the condensed version, which is only 12 characters,
12.
I believe.
12, yeah. And that looks like probably a good 100 characters probably anyway.
At least.
Yeah.
Most websites, too, like Drudge and other news sites, give you a Twitter option so that you can tweet articles directly from their site, and they will create a shortened link, essentially, which will be pasted into your tweet, and then you can add to it depending on how many characters you have left. But sharing on Twitter is very similar to sharing on Facebook. Any other questions, Larry?
Yes, sir. This one is from Gary, and he asks, can tweets be automatically posted to Facebook?
Yes, that's the intermediate level Twitter training we're going to talk about. There are programs that can automate your tweets so that if you create in advance, let's say you create 50 tweets, you can tell it to send those tweets in rotation every so many hours. 1 tweet per so many hours, and you can automate that. And that's a lot of what you see when you follow several Twitter feeds, like FairTax Nation's Twitter feed is automated. I think all 5 of Glenn Terrell's, although I believe he monitors his and can do individual replies. And there's advantages and disadvantages to that. The advantage would be that if you think of Twitter as live TV, so that that stream keeps moving and keeps moving and keeps moving, the same thing the same topic coming up every 2 hours may look like a new topic to somebody that's only signing on every 3 or 4 hours. And in order to see all of those 50 tweets, it may take some people as long as 3 months to see all of those 50 tweets because of the way they go in rotation. The downside to doing that is if somebody replies to one, you don't see their reply, and you can't follow up with their reply by retweeting it. So there's positives and negatives to doing that.
Okay, so if you're doing automatic shares with Facebook and a reply comes in, you do not see it?
Well, it would be an automated series of tweets, and if a reply comes to one of those tweets, you would not see that reply necessarily.
Because it would roll off your screen?
Well, unless you go back and you go in to look at just that Twitter accounts, if you load just the tweets that have been sent out over a certain time period on that Twitter account, you wouldn't necessarily see the replies. And if you did something with that reply, if you retweeted it or replied to that reply, they may or may not see that, the person that sent the reply.
Got it. Okay, like everything else in life, there's a pro and a con, huh?
Yeah, and again, I'm in a learning phase also on Twitter, so that's why we're going to try and get a group, social media group, to help us understand this a little better.
Super. Okay, Gary, thank you. Next is from Rob. Can we define hashtags just by putting a hashtag in front of a word?
Yes.
Short answer. Very good. And also from Rob, is there a list of frequently used hashtags?
It's in creation. We're going to have, hashtag IND for, or hashtag FairTax IND for FairTax Independence, hashtag FairTax DEM for FairTax Democrats. We're going to try and standardize some of these so that hopefully there'll be a consistent common hashtag language as relates to FairTax. And again, that's one of the things my committee is working on in my spare time.
Okay, so that would be a help to us in the FairTax movement. But
yes,
as far as a list of hashtags across the world of Twitter, there is no such thing.
Actually, I think there may be websites out there that actually will tell you, you put in a topic and you look for hashtags on that topic, and they'll tell you how many times that hashtag's been used. But I can't tell you exactly what the name of that website is right now because I forgot to bookmark it.
Sounds like you have a homework assignment, Randy.
I do, and I just wrote that down, and that'll be part of either intermediate or advanced.
Rob, if you will, you got Don Scott's email address earlier. It's dscott351@aol.com. Email Don asking this question, and when Randy comes up with an answer, one of them will get back to you. How's that for putting you guys on the spot?
No problem.
No problem.
We'll do it.
All right, thanks, Rob. Next is from Peggy. Can you make up your own hashtag, i.e. at Peggy FairTax for your flowers?
It sounded like you combined an address and a hashtag, sort of. And so, yes, the answer to can you make up your own hashtag is yes, you can make up a hashtag for any term, basically. The shorter it is and the fewer characters you use, the more likely it is to get reused, from my understanding. So you don't want it to be, 50 characters long. But my understanding is you can hashtag any group of characters.
Okay, but you would not put a hashtag in front of an address or as part of an address?
No. Hashtag would never be included as part of an address. Okay. And usually it's better when you send a tweet to address it to someone. So if the topic is ways and means, I would put it to @DaveCamp so that somebody in Camp's group sees it. Or, you don't have to include addresses, but as you'll notice on here, with the people that are, have somebody paid to populate their Twitter streams, and I'm sure Laura Ingraham does a bunch of her own, but when she sends out a tweet, she says, if you think @Senator Reid is good on amnesty, then you'll love, and then she puts in Senator Alexander and hashtags vote. I have no idea what she's trying to say there.
I think that's Carr. I think that's Alexander's primary opponent in
I got it. Vote Carr. Yeah. I got it.
Okay.
Okay, Peggy, I hope that helps you out. There's one from Don. It seems to be very time intensive, Don. How much time do you spend tweeting or following the tweets?
Personally, I try to squeeze in about 30 minutes on an average day. Some days I only look at it for 5 minutes and try to retweet 3 or 4 things. Some days I'll be on Twitter as long as an hour. But I tend to try to do something on Twitter, but I'm the @FL FairTax, so I want to make sure that FL FairTax is as active as it can be. So my tendency is to try and do something on it every day.
I typically I'm in fits and starts. I'll do 10 minutes here, and then I'll later in the day I might do 20 minutes, and so I can't really put a number on it. Usually it's about a half-hour a day I'll spend on Twitter.
Okay, and I was asked also, so Don, I am new to Twitter, brand new. I have established an account, and I am sporadically on it, but I have realized something also. There are some people on the FairTax communications systems that appear to spend all of their time on either Facebook or Yahoo groups, and I wonder why they're spending so much time there instead of spending time in the field talking to people about the FairTax and developing more supporters. I'm beginning to see how addictive this can be. And it's like I said earlier, it's like other things in life. There's some pros and some cons. It's a great communications tool. We have great communications tools, plural, but it's keeping us from doing what we need to do, and that is share the word with people who don't know anything about the FairTax. And we can only do that by being out in the trenches, not by being on our assets playing on the computer. Okay, thank you, Don. Next, Rob just says I got it. Okay. Another one from Rob. So go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry.
Well, let me mention that we really see the power of Twitter as being a target to try and get the attention of Congress, starting with the chairman of the Ways and Means and working our way out. So we really see it as much as a weapon as we do a grassroots building tool. The other thing we see as powerful in Twitter is the ability to link YouTube videos to Twitter. And also the big element of Twitter is the potential for celebrity tweets and retweets. John Steinberger from South Carolina was sending tweets out to Fox Business. I just forgot his name, but he's one of the, Payne.
Charles Payne.
Charles Payne. And he got Charles Payne to retweet several tweets on the FairTax, and they almost had a conversation going. And literally that small group of tweets and retweets probably hit 100,000 people, which it would take you forever and a day standing in the mall to hand out 100,000 information cards. So we think it's not only the power to turn on Congress, it'll be the ability to get a few celebrity tweeters on board that will help us hit a large group of people.
Okay, so properly targeted, then it certainly is a powerful multiplier.
Yes.
It's not like on the Yahoo groups where you're talking to a bunch of people who are all part of the same mission already.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to unmute Paul Livingston because he's on as a staff member here tonight, and he doesn't have the ability to raise a hand or ask a question. So, Paul, do you have anything you would like to add or any questions?
Paul? I think he did that thing where he went away from his computer, so we can mark him as absent.
It certainly looks like that, although I've unmuted him. I still see a faint line through his microphone, which means he might still be muted, even though I've got him on green.
Yeah.
Okay.
He may have it mute.
Paul, if you can hear us, and maybe you need to unmute yourself on your end, and that'll make the difference. So I've got one more question here. This one is also from Rob. I am confused about how it is possible to include a space in a hashtag. Aren't spaces delimiters?
No, it would have to be an underscore. Spaces are delimiters. So you would not include a space. If you put past the FairTax, hashtag past the FairTax, you would not be able to put any spaces in it. And I don't know if you can underscore in one or not. I've never sent one with an underscore.
So what's the real answer here, Randy?
No spaces in a hashtag word or hashtag.
Okay, but we do not know how to create the space that you would normally have in the word the.
You wouldn't create a space.
So you just run the words together.
Correct. And that's one of the things that people that follow Twitter and read things on Twitter, their brains automatically separate the words.
Just like you wouldn't separate on a web address.
Right. If you look at the screen now, it's Laura Ingram's first tweet 2 minutes ago says hashtag melt the lines. There's no spaces in that. Meaning call your congressperson and tell them to close the damn border.
Got it. Yep. Okay, thank you very much. Well, that takes care of what I think is all of the questions that we have. And I don't see any more hands raised. So well, I think
I'm going to be checking on everybody now and looking you up on Twitter because I'm going to get a list of who attended, and I want to see everybody with a Twitter account before the end of August.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say before the end of July.
No, that's a little tight.
Oh, I don't think that's too tight.
That gives them a couple days.
And make sure to put at FL FairTax.
Fantastic.
At FairTax Official. You want to follow at least those two and also FairTax Nation.
Okay, and Don, do you have any closing comments before I stop the recording?
I don't. I just thank you everyone for coming on and listening to me talk about Twitter this evening. I sure do appreciate your attendance.